Selamat datang Aiman daripada UiTM.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam. Okay guys, kita ada tetamu kita daripada UiTM.
Siapa cakap tu? Sorry.
Boleh dengar ke Aiman?
Boleh, kan? Clearly.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Dr. Aiman adalah bekas staff Razin Architect.
Oh, okay.
A very short session, but very interesting period of time.
InsyaAllah. Okay. Mr. Faizal, thank you for coming. Dr. Lina daripada UiTM, selamat datang.
Hai, Encik Anwar.
Okay, kita tunggu lagi 5 minit untuk ni apa? You on their side boleh student okay ke dari segi dapat YouTube tu?
So semua kalau dia ada question, you just can ask dekat Webex tu. I'll try to broadcast dekat Webex.
Okay, fine. Okay, Cik Lee ada. Ni apa dia Razin, Cik Lee ada. Dah botak dah.
Assalamualaikum.
Okay, kita ada ni Cik Nasruddin, KP saya dan pakai kopiah, pakai songkok. Ini adalah Ketua Jabatan Architecture. Nasruddin.
Nasruddin.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Okay.
Nasruddin tu kita punya ketua jabatan di Jabatan Serimena UiTM Seri Iskandar. Saya juga ikut UiTM Puncak Alam actually. Saya dah pass pada dia orang. Saya rasa dia orang masuk dengan YouTube. InsyaAllah. So ada 3 kampus actually-nya dekat sini. So kita ada kampus UiTM Seri Iskandar, UiTM Puncak Alam dan UiTM Skudai.
This is very interesting. The new normal.
Kalau tak ada COVID, tak dapat pergi 3 tempat at the same time.
Itulah insyaAllah. So dengan platform YouTube, Webex, whatsoever, kita boleh reach greater audience. Then YouTube pula kita boleh upload. Kita upload nanti later on boleh tengok balik, berulang-ulang balik lah insyaAllah. So hopefully it's okay. So we got 3 minutes lagi. Then sharp by 10 we start the session lah. Saya rasa yang banyak group dalam team belah saya belah sini YouTube, budak-budak dah masuk dalam YouTube. Then kita Google Meet. InsyaAllah Nas, InsyaAllah next time because kita dah ada this kind of platform, InsyaAllah nanti saya akan almost every semester saya akan panggil professional bagi talk. InsyaAllah kita akan panggil lagi dan kita boleh buat this kind of arrangement so that we can share the professional talks to the session dan akan dimanfaatkan oleh student. Sebab kita ada UPJ daripada Jakarta dengan Politeknik juga di sana as part of our punya ni lah student terlibat dengan kita. Okay. Okay. Right, okay. InsyaAllah kita dah pukul 10 . Alright, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi selamat pagi pada dan Assalamualaikum dan selamat pagi pada rakan-rakan pensyarah UTM, UiTM Seri Iskandar, UiTM Puncak Alam dan di Seri Iskandar di Puncak Alam, di UTM. Saya ucapkan selamat datang. Okey, untuk sebelum kita mulakan sesi kita pada pagi ini, kita bacakan Al-Fatihah untuk mendapat keberkatan, dan bagi non-Muslim, please recite the doa mengikut ajaran agama masing-masing. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin, arrahmanirrahim, maliki yaumiddin, iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, ihdinas siratal mustaqim, siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin, amin. Right, okay. Pagi ni kita bersyukur kerana kita mendapat tetamu yang bagi saya hebat, yang telah mengharumkan nama kita di pesada antarabangsa dalam bidang arkitektur. So semoga Allah bagi keberkatan pada Razin kerana pada kesempatan ini dia dapat prepare talk. So hopefully dengan talk ni kita dapat satu inspirasi yang hebat. Right, untuk talk pada hari ini kita akan bercakap mengenai tropical regionalism, design approach and organised oleh Jabatan Department of Architecture UiTM Seri Iskandar. So presenter kita Razin. Razin adalah the Principal Director Razin Architect Johor Bahru. Basically secara teransurnya Razin ni sebabnya dia graduated from Louisiana State University, Baton Rouge, USA. Setelah tamat di USA, dia telah bersama-sama dengan firma Himsex Architect dekat Austin, USA. Balik di Malaysia pada tahun 1989. Masa tu saya baru nak duduk dalam UTM. Dan di Malaysia dia telah mendapat pengalaman bekerja di beberapa firma arkitek. Tak salah saya Hajida, tak salah saya.
Ya,
Hajida.
betul.
Dan dah last kali buka praktis pada tahun 1996. Okay, masa tu saya baru graduate dekat HAL. Okay, Razin bagi saya telah mengenengahkan pendekatan tropical design dalam reka bentuk dan telah mendapat perhatian di Malaysia lah. Antara yang mula-mula saya kenal you adalah masa you buat masjid Nusa simple. Dia bagi a very kata interesting and inspiring punya design lah. Okay, so saya harap dengan talk ni dia dapat menjadikan dia sebagai inspirasi kepada pelajar-pelajar. Pada masa sama dia mengubah satu paradigma cara how our student melihat ataupun mendekati reka bentuk masing-masing. So without further ado, I invite you Razin for the talk. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.
Terima kasih saudara Anwar Yusoff. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wa mursalin wa ala alihi wasahbihi ajmain. Syukur kita kepada hadrat Allah dengan limpah kurnianya dapat kita berjumpa hari ini bersama-sama mencerita sejarah 3 tempat dalam satu masa. Saya akan mulakan talk saya hari ini dengan tajuk tropical regionalism. Tapi sebelum tu saya ingin ucapkan terima kasih kepada UiTM Seri Iskandar yang sudi menjemput, dan kepada Dr. Aiman bagi pihak UTM yang sudi join. Kalau tak saya terpaksa buat hari lain untuk UTM pula. So alhamdulillah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I hope whatever I show today will create some sense of dialogue among the students, even among the lecturers. Sebab I spent one whole day yesterday mencari bahan, walaupun bahan yang dalam office memang dah banyak, tapi saya rasa ada peluang bagi saya untuk memanjangkan sikit talk ini supaya kita sama-sama dapat berbincang tentang isu yang kita ketengahkan. Okay, I'm going to start the presentation now. Okay. Just to make sure that everybody can see the slides.
Dapat. Okay, saya dapat.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum semua. Very good morning to everyone. My name is Razin. I'm the principal of Razin Architect. I've done a lot of work daripada besar hinggalah sekecil-kecilnya. Ini adalah gambar projek terbesar saya di Puteri Harbour Gelang Patah. Dan ini pula adalah gambar projek terkecil saya, iaitu sebuah reception counter for an office in Lakin Perdana. That is my former office actually in 2005. So in between that, from the biggest to the smallest, they are all considered as experiments to me. Okay, I started like you said in 83 rasanya, in Louisiana State University. At that time we were doing manual drawings, as you can see here. Tak banyak gambar daripada universiti. Ini satu-satunya gambar yang saya ada. And then I have another passion, which is photography. I started early. During my student days, I was the staff photographer for the school daily newspaper and annual journal. So saya banyak keluar ambil gambar on assignment, and I only get paid when my picture is published. So there is a pressure to make sure that you do good work every time in order for you to get paid. My first published work in Malaysia is my photography, not my building. This is a magazine in 97 where I contributed my travel slides for free, and then somehow they selected it to be at the cover of the magazine. So since then, saya memang seronok bila kerja saya mendapat pengiktirafan. It started just photography. After that, it was a pleasure for me to do my work and get it published as well. Now I have almost 20 people in the office. My office just next to my house. And I've been doing tropical design since the very first day I started. To me, it's the rightful thing to do, where building should be truthful to its time and place. I've worked on projects of various complexities, daripada high-end, luxurious, big-budget project to even small project like a kampung house. This is a kampung house, is Kampung Rimba Terjun Pontian Johor, where the budget is minimal. At this time, I was trying to go for real tropicality, where the house is built without walls. Yang ini way back in 2002, if I'm not mistaken, almost 20 years ago. And then, the surau in 2010. We got the highest recognition ever. Menang 3 award, PEM Award, Gold Award, and then Acacia Sustainable Award, and Korean 100 Architects of the Year, or something like that, in 2014. And 2020 has been good as well. My project, my house, is selected to be on the cover of Robert Powell's book, The Malaysian Tropical House, The Tropical Malaysian House, Volume 2. And then early last month, I launched my own book with Robert Powell writing the foreword for the book. It's called Blurring Boundaries. It comprises of selected projects that shows the approach towards designing buildings for tropical climate. Okay. Now, let's go to the topic at hand. Hari ni kita cerita pasal tropical regionalism, but before we go to tropical regionalism, I just want all the students to understand what regionalism is all about. So I actually searched here and there, and I read a few things on regionalism, but I was trying to find a product that that somehow will illustrate the importance of being truthful to the place, because regionalism is about using whatever you have around you, whether it's a material, the know-how, or the culture, in order to come up with a solution. Because in the old days, there was no cross-border business, so you just make do whatever you have around you. So that's what regionalism is all about. So when it comes to design, if you want to talk about the wheel or houses, it may be too technical. So I just wanted to show you a product that symbolize or give an effect on the understanding of what regionalism is all about. So I found this item, water carrier. It's popular in the area where water is scarce. There was no piping then. You can't even dig river, so you have to carry water. So normally women would do it, and they carry on their head. When there was earth that is suitable for pottery, they use it to make an urn like tempayan, and the water is carried above their head. And same thing in Africa. The water container is placed on the head, and they carry around, some for miles even, to get to the place where they live. And some even put some form of ornamentation on this simple water carrier, just to show that there is culture, or there is this symbol that is strong to the group or to the tribe. And then there was metal, whether it's copper or brass. This is in Persia, and they use this to carry water. This is sheepskin that is sewn together after removing the inner parts and the bones. This is popular in the Middle East, the Arab countries. I suppose there was no suitable soil for pottery, or maybe the process was too difficult. But there was abundance of there was abundance of animal skin that can be used for as water carry. Even the holy water, the Zamzam water, was carried in this way during the early 1900s, up to early 1900s. Okay. And in some parts of the world, it is still being used as water carrier, because that's just what they could afford. That's just what they have around them that could function as a water carrier. In Asia, this is in Vietnam, they use bamboo because there was plenty of bamboo around them. Piece and put water, but there was not much water that can be carried in this bamboo container. In China, they use timber pail instead of one pail or one bucket. They use what they call that, kandal, to carry two basket or two pail at one time. Okay, so it's similar with the European area, macam susu cap rinjong. You see them carrying this on the labels of milk containers. So this is Asia. Not only we carry water, but we carry the entire kitchen, the whole buffet line. This is a hawker in Singapore in early 20s. This is like the food truck then, where food is served fresh on the roadside. They can even cook in front of you. Now, what about our country? How do we carry water in Malaya or in this part of the region? But before that, then technology invented plastic. Now people in Africa carry plastic container above their head. which is much heavier because they can now store more water. And then because it was too heavy, and somebody invented this drum, this big container that roll on the road, so that they don't have to carry above their head anymore. Okay, this shows that regionalism is also about progressing with the times. So you're not stuck in just one timeline. You need to think of a way to make sure that whatever you do will be simpler from now on. Okay, now back to Malaysia, back to Malaya during the old times. How do we carry water? We don't carry water because our settlements are always close to the river, and we have high water table on our soil. So you just dig 4 feet or 5 feet deep, you get a well, you get clean mineral water right next to the house. So we don't carry water, but we store water. So this is Labu Sayung. It's popular in Perak, in Kuala Kangsar specifically. So water is cool in here, and then the sedimentation at the bottom of the jug will ensure that the water that you pour in your glass is clean. We have refrigerator now, so we don't use, not many people are using this anymore. So from my point of view, I think that this product, this element of just, the act of carrying water is a strong symbol of how regionalism can have impact on the solution or on the design that is provided to the users. So it is a very important element that one must think about when you design a solution for your area. Okay, now let's talk about tropical regionalism. We have touched on regionalism, and now we touch on the tropical issues. The tropics, as you know, are the areas that is close to the equator, dekat dengan Khatulistiwa. It's hot, humid area. If you look deep enough, you'll see some of the solutions or design elements, architectural design elements are similar in this region. So what is tropical design? This is a picture of a project, a bathroom for a house in Galampata. Tropical, to me, to us, is about being close to nature. It's about bringing the outside in or bringing the inside out. And it's about being truthful to the time and place. Okay. And we go back to vernacular architecture, the Malay house. Before there was architects, we build our own house from material that we have around our area, whether it's papan, timber, or whether it's atap roof. They are all available within, a few miles from the area that is cut, and then they help and put it up together with the community. Okay. An old photograph of Malay settlement near a river. The houses are always raised, maybe 3 feet in Johor, maybe 5 feet or even 8 feet in Kelantan, because they need to be suitable to the weather around them. We don't have floods in Johor probably, so that's why it's only 3 feet up instead of 8 feet in Perak or in Kelantan. And the design is always done in accordance to the material that's available then. No concrete, no bricks, just timber. Okay, and then there's a certain dimension that's available. Probably 12-inch by 12-inch post is as big as you can get. So the span for these structures are always small span, maybe just 10 feet to 12 feet in between them. Okay, this is the inside. It's very honest, nothing that is hidden. What you put is what you see. One single layer of timber walls with one single layer of roof tiles. Sad to say, this is uncommon now. You don't see houses built like this anymore because timber houses like this. And to stay in places like this would cost you probably 1,000 ringgit a night. And some developers in the country are trying to mimic that traditional Malay house look by putting louvers and all sort of stuff. But the question is, are they really doing tropical design? Let's go back to the period where real architects, real designers are brought in. Like what I said earlier, houses, vernacular architecture, where houses were designed by the people themselves, or it's architecture without architects. But during the colonization from 1800s to early 1900s, it was the British that brought in designers and engineers, and they brought along brick and plastering and concrete with them as well, I suppose. So it's only natural for them to bring whatever they know over there, whatever they have over there, and put it here. But then they realize that it's not suitable because our climate is different. So it was recorded that some of the early bungalows that designed by their architects or their engineers were actually influenced by the Malay houses. Okay, it says here it's elevated a few feet off the ground on brick piers because our soil was too damp and you can't have timber touching the soil all the time because there was no proper waterproofing whatsoever. So the Masali actually copied the things that the original settlers did by raising the house a few feet above the ground and also by providing lots of openings for ventilation, for natural ventilation. And then you start seeing houses with veranda all around, like this one in 1920. You see the earlier design is now added with verandas. First, to filter the sun so that you don't get direct sunlight to your openings. And secondly, to avoid getting wet from harsh driving rain. Okay, they even recorded the evolution of an Anglo-Malay bungalow. Initially, it was just single story, and then after that, they raised to a few stories high. Notice the floor is raised above the ground. It prevents the floor from touching the wet soil. It also gives ventilation to the floor so that the house is kept cool at all times. Whatever plans that you see at that time will have veranda all over the house on all four sides. Some pictures of the early houses, which we don't have that many here in Malaysia. Some of these are actually in Singapore, where they are preserved in good condition. Living, where you don't need walls, you just need a big roof above you, and maximum openings for maximum air movement, and lots of trees around you so that the air around the house is cool. Okay, now how do we translate that to current design? Do we have to make a lot of adjustment? So I'm going to show you an example of our own product, which is which I get from a Swedish couple, and they wanted a simple timber house, single-story house. So I showed them some Malay house photograph. They agreed to it, and it's called Bantara. This was done way back in 2004, where the land is raised 3 meters above street level. So that's ideal for creating an open design and yet still provide privacy for the users. There were 4 pavilions, one for sleeping and writing. And there's a dining area as well, small dining area. One for office and gym, another one for reading. I put water around the pavilions to create that peaceful feeling. Water is very important element. In Chinese, water is wealth. In Islam, water is paradise. I mean, in fact, it is described in the Quran. Di dalamnya ada pohon hijau dengan air mengalir during the 800 or 1,000 years ago when the Sahabat conquered Spain. They couldn't wait to be in paradise, so they created their own paradise in this world by trying to translate what was described in the Quran. And I put trees on the perimeter of the compound. So that was a single-story house with a lawn in front. And the owner said luxury is about walking barefooted in front of your room, outside in the sun, and not just about using polished material or expensive marble in the house. So we have reflecting pool for the reading area. We use chengal timber throughout the house. And inside the sleeping area, there's no change of level to differentiate the use of space. And I make sure that all the spaces are bright. Another one that's similar to this is lot 529 in Ledang Heights. A very steep slope, cut and fill. Amazing. Owner still wants a single-story house, although the site is very, very slopey. I put the pool at the front. Becomes the retaining wall for the area that is filled up. And then we have 7 different pavilions to house 7 different activities. We have the guest room, the guest lounge, the kitchen, dining room, living room, and lastly the master bedroom that's facing the pool. Yep, that's the pool. So that's the pavilions from the an aerial view of the pavilion. One thing special about this project is that we are using the outside area as circulation space. This is what I call where the site plan becomes the floor plan. There was no pressure to create a facade on the outside. I mean, the owner does not really talk about wanting a pleasant look on there. He doesn't really care too much about it, but he wants to make sure that we put a lot of attention on the experience inside. So this is what you see the moment you open the door at the car porch. You see this link bridge that is flanked by koi pond, and you see the guest lounge in front of you. And then you see the rooms. These are all floating slabs above koi pond. And then it is covered by pergolas. View from the pool area. This view from the master bedroom, looking at the living room. This is the pool, infinity edge, that is raised 6 meters above street level. And this is recent photograph. The trees are now much bigger, more mature. And then 12 years ago, that was 10 years ago. Then this is the night house 12 years ago. Again on a slope. We put the services up at the front so that it's close to the vehicular access. The rest, garden space and pool area. And on the upper floor, we have the bedrooms. Ground floor, half of it is open. And I wanted to make a statement that a Malay house did not look like a Malay house. It can be a modern house, but I still want to preserve some of the elements that is used in the Malay house, like this jendela labuh or tingkap labuh, and the kekisi that opens up for maximum opening for ventilation. This is view from the bedroom after it was completed. Some of the sketches I did for the front elevation. This is facing west, so I put up a big screen as shading device to reduce the heat gain from the west side. This is what it looks like right now. Okay, big open space with opening on both sides to encourage uninterrupted airflow, natural ventilation. So it could be windy sometimes. It doesn't get too hot, but at night I can close up all these folding doors so that I can get the mosquito out from my family area. Even the glass door that I have are sliding doors, so I slide it open during daytime. View from the pool area. And that's the big floor-to-ceiling sliding glass door. Green is luxury. First, we talk about maximizing openings for natural ventilation. Another one is about maximizing green areas or greeneries around the house. Just to show you the initial sketch that I did 12 years ago for the house. So I've always intended to have lots of open space, lots of green in my house. Okay, and look at the overhang. Normally you will get maybe 2 feet to 3 feet overhang. I have a 6 feet overhang to make sure that I don't get a rain splash on my openings. We have greens everywhere in the house. It helps to cool down the area and it helps to shade the opening as well. This view from one of the bedrooms where the wall disappears. It's like putting your bed on a balcony. This is the arrival area for the guests. They walk up a few steps to go to the open guest lounge. This is the part that I like most, greens and water. And then the house will be different. We don't have this lush landscaping around it. Okay, the trees have gone much bigger now. This view from the bedroom, the leaves are actually touching the louvers. Another view from the spiral staircase, looking down to my office. All right, now I've shown you the tropical approach for 3 houses. Side plan becomes the floor plan, and this linear form with maximum openings to take advantage of the open space outside. We then try to do this approach on a public building. What if we do tropical design on a mosque? So the first thing that we do, even though the user asks for 1,500 worshippers, we reduce the size to just 300 because we are designing for everyday use, not only for Friday or Hari Raya use. So I propose to the user that we have an air-conditioned main prayer hall that will fit 300 people, and it was agreed because comfort level has changed. People like you and myself, we are so used to aircon now, and it will be good that we pray in an air-conditioned space. But then I added a large overspill space or multi-purpose area so that on Friday or during Hari Raya, they can pray outside the main prayer hall without having to air condition the entire mosque building. I added floors, and then I put screen around the building, and I put a lot of trees, hoping that when the trees are matured, it will help to reduce the temperature around the building so that you get uninterrupted cooler air in the area. This is the plans. It was the initial design that I did. We had no money then. We only used expanded metal as screen. Then we put trees in between the screen and the glass prayer hall. We even proposed that if they were to expand, they will have a multi-purpose hall at the back to increase the usage from 2,000 to probably 5,000 people. This is a view inside. Use available material, available knowledge without having to worry too much about, you know, the quality of plastering whatsoever. So it's exposed brick. And this picture during construction, we changed the screen to galvanized steel sheet. It's placed manufactured on site. A picture of the outside plaza with the prayer line painted on the pavers. And then the in-between space between outside and inside is the transition space, and I put trees to help shade the glass area. View from inside during Maghrib. Just normal brick. It's not even faith-based brick. It is normal brick. View of the main prayer hall. And this is a recent photograph from above. As you can see, the COVID staff arrangement is still being used right now. And then we got visits from a few universities. I think this one was from UiTM Puncalam. Okay, and then we start doing it on office building as well. But this time, because of the sun orientation, we put the shading device as, we put vertical fin as shading device, because the house is, the office is located, the longer part is located on the east-west axis. So the fin actually have to protect or to shade the glass area from low morning or late evening sun. Client wanted a big lobby and a big exhibition area, but because we feel that there's no requirement to aircon the space, so we propose that the exhibition and lobby be an open space. After all, lobby could also function as an exhibition area. So the entire ground floor is kept without walls. The only enclosed part is the payment counter that is air conditioned deep inside the building. It's a 3-story building. You know that we have to provide handicap access, but I purposely hide the lift so that the user will use the staircase all the time, and the staircase is placed in the middle there, hoping that the user will use the staircase all the time instead of using the lift. And then this is also a showcase for green building under my crest. So we put, besides rainwater harvesting, we put solar panels and turbines to power the compound lighting around the area. So this picture of the building under construction is already completed 3 years ago. The turbine works well. And then the entire ground floor, like I said, is wall free. So you get this the lobby area. Picture of the staircase. The trees have matured now. It's much bigger than this. And that is the staircase that we use for everyday connection to the upper floor. Okay, now the first few houses, the first 2 houses, the Bantara and Lord 529, was a bit traditional, so to speak. So one client asked us to do a very modern house on a hill, on a hilly side as well. So we wanted to show that tropical design can also be for modern look, modern appearance. So we had this wall that actually hide the entire house. On the arrival level, you only see this wall with a glimpse of the roof behind it. So this is the greeting space where guests gets dropped off, and then you open the door. Then you will only see the house after you open the door. So it is linked by a bridge from the main entrance to another bridge that link the 2 wings, where we have the bedrooms on either wings. The living is double volume, is a grand space facing the pool. This is a house from aerial view. The center portion only houses the living and dining area. So this is a tall 6-meter high ceiling, I believe, that houses a grand living space. They open directly to the pool deck and the pool outside. Design was already completed, but then it was shelved because of the current economic crisis. Another one that we did, this is one of my favorites. This is in Leisure Farm Glampata, where we did 3 houses without a front face. So this is the thing that you see, a wall, a blank wall with opening to invite you to come into the house. Developer was quite ambitious. They want this to be sold as a premium product. Each bungalow will cost about, will be priced at probably 3 to 4 million. Then this was 10 years ago, yeah. So if one family bought one, maybe they can persuade the uncles and the other relatives to buy the unit next to them. So they built 3 bungalows at one time. It's about designing experience, not about designing facade or faces of the house. So what we did, we designed for the senses. It's what you see, it's what you hear, then it's what you feel. Of course, we don't forget the large opening and large overhang to make sure that we get good airflow in the house. At night, you can close up the rooms where you can turn on the aircon, but during daytime, with the openings that you have, you should be able to have maximum air movement in the house. We are talking large roof and large openings. Okay, another view of one of the bungalows with very large. I think this is about 3.6 meter overhang. Where do we go from here? Is tropical design only suitable for small buildings? That's the question that we all have to answer. So I just want to show you some of the approach that I've done for high-rise building, a real project, but not built because of some land issues. We try to apply what bungalow design, and we apply it on high-rise building. We plant trees right next to the building so that the glass is sheltered or is shaded by the trees and not by artificial or man-made shading device. Although it's easier to maintain if you just have aluminum louvers and all that, but to us, like I said, green is luxury. We wanted them to feel to have the experience of walking to a building with greeneries everywhere. Okay. Another proposal that we did was for an office in Madini. Everything that we talk about for bungalow design, green patches, large openings, screens, apply on this office building. We're hoping to make every floor, even though they are upper floors, they get the experience of being on the ground floor. We have greeneries outside, so we put green balconies. They could also be used as a gathering area or even a meeting space. Large opening, full floor to ceiling openings. And then the shading device everywhere, either the trees or this vertical mullions or fins. This is also an old proposal. This was done 5 years ago. And the latest one was early this year, where we were asked to do a grand banquet hall or like convention center, where we asked to do a hall for 1,000 people for weddings or for seminars. So we work on forest of columns. Somebody in the office call it the Parthenon because it is huge, but we try to add skylights here and there so that we can have natural light to make sure that the trees would survive. And we also put retail, F&B retail on the area. So I think that's it. That's all from me. That's the end of my talk. I look forward to questions from the audience.
Okay, terima kasih Razin for the presentation. It's very nice, and it shows that from you spell out your presentation in a manner of the way student can understand. It's very helpful. Thank you very much indeed. Actually, okay, guys, it's time for the Q&A session. I open the session to the student. Perhaps the student can fire out the question, or lecturers, Aiman, apa ni tim kita, apa ni Faizul, apa the rest of the architecture punya lecturers. Okay, boleh kita question.
Aiman here, UiTM.
Yes.
I have a question from the first year student. It goes like this. How long on average does it take to create a building from a client's request to complete building, to a finished building?
Okay, that depends on the needs of the client then. My house, I took my own sweet time. I took a year to design and 8 months to construct. In most cases, it is safe to allow for maybe 6 months for design and approval, and then 18 months for construction. But smaller buildings like Surau Nur Saidaman, it was designed and completed within 3 months. So you have to act very fast. Some of the drawings were incomplete, so you have to settle the detailing on site during the construction itself. There are even bigger buildings like high-rise building. Traditionally, you start from the basement and then you go up to the tower. But if time is of the essence, there are contractors who are willing to do both the basement and the tower at the same time. It's called top-down construction. So there are technologies that will allow you to work very fast. But on the safe side, for normal, maybe terrace house or bungalow buildings, I would say it's 3 to 6 months for design and approval, and then 1 year to 2 years for completion. Okay.
Sorry, next question please. Alright, okay. Perhaps saya start dulu kot. Okay. For housing, normally kita ada typical design actually, which is standard. Dia unit, corridor in the middle, and unit whatsoever. Okay, how do you suggest in order for student to incorporate tropical punya typical housing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very, very interesting question. In fact, I was asked the same when I presented my house during the book launch. I mean, they say we are only showing grand bungalows. Only grand bungalows can afford these openings and this tropical approach. Well, it's not true actually. Historically, tropical approach has been used for compact houses as well. In Malacca, in Singapore, in Penang, very narrow site, maybe just 20 feet wide by 100 feet long. We introduced courtyards, air wells, and so on and so forth to bring in light and ventilation. So it is not impossible. In fact, next week I'll be presenting to a new client on the terrace house scheme where we put courtyards, not one but 2 courtyards in the house. Doesn't have to be big, probably just 6 feet by 6 feet, but it's enough to bring light and air into this compact arrangement. Yes, I would strongly recommend that we go back to the olden days where we have courtyards in houses.
Okay. Yes, question.
Yes, there is 3 questions from the first year from UiTM. So one is because there's a lot of open concepts in your design. So what happens when it rains? Does the furniture get wet? That's one. And then when designing a house, should we consider the flow of movement of users, like the user pathway, that the everyday pathway that they always take? And the third one will be, to what extent is an architect involved in the construction process?
Okay. First one, the openings, too many openings. Not only it invites light and air, but it also allow water. You are right. If you don't do it well, that place will be wet when it rains. I mean, really wet. Can you imagine floor to ceiling opening? There's nothing stopping the flow of water inside the house. So I highlighted just now, wherever we have big openings, we must make sure we have large overhangs. It's like having a big umbrella above the opening. Okay, so that's very important. Design is problem seeking. So you know water will be a problem. How do you solve that? That is design. You find solutions for that. Whether maybe you don't do the openings too big. You just do it half so that there's less water coming in, or you do this great overhang above the openings that prevent water from coming in. Okay. Secondly is the path, the circulation space that you use every day. Sure, if you don't do it well, I mean, people need to move around the design, the house that you created. But path can be defined by having permanent walls or partition. It can also be defined by arrangement of your furniture. So I have this big 20 by 100 feet space in my house. I define the circulation with the arrangement of furniture. So I make sure there's enough space to move around. Okay. The third one, how deep is the involvement of architects in construction? Depend on the scope of work, depending on how you are being appointed. Some architects are appointed only for design, and then it is passed over to another architect or another engineer to look at the construction. But from my own experience, architects needs to be involved in the construction, because sometimes there are things that you don't see in your drawings. Even after 20 years of doing design every day, but sometimes you make mistake. By getting involved during the construction period helps you reduce the amount of mistakes that you can have. So, but if you have perfected your drawings, then probably you don't need to be involved in the construction at all. So now with this BIM technology, where you can do analysis and you do coordination digitally, so the role of architects on construction site are being reduced for some projects, not all projects. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Ada lagi?
Okay, ada question from Adriel Lai. Hi, I believe you might have client that refuse to take up your initial idea. How do you deal with it? Change to suit your or forced to follow client direction?
That is the art of communication, actually. You are appointed because they trust you. It's not because of your look, it's not because of your degree, but because they trust you can produce what they want. Okay, in my practice, we have a certain belief that design should be done in a certain manner. So for private bungalows, alhamdulillah, because of the project that we publish, we tend to screen our client. Only clients that like our design will come to us. Initially, when I first started, clients come with magazines, stacks of magazine and architecture books, and ask us to follow page 72, page 69, page 50. The kitchen should be page 30, things like that. So we were not real architects. We were more like just doing drawings for them. But after a certain time, when you start promoting your certain kind of approach, people tend to trust you, and then it's a lot easier to actually convince them. Oh yes, there were a lot of designs that were rejected. You have to face rejection with good faith, maybe because you didn't do it good enough. Okay, so you have to be better the next time. For instance, this is a classic example, the mosque that we did, even the surah that we did. The question that we get, what's so Islamic about your design? Apa Islamnya bangunan awak ni? And I answered, Islam is not for the building, Islam is for the people. The building will be a mosque if there are people praying inside it. If nobody prays, it's just a building. Okay, so it was tough. Yes, it was tough. I've done a lot of mosques. Maybe only 3 gets built. Okay, because they couldn't agree with the proposal that I had. And mosque is always a pro bono work. We don't get paid, but if you don't like it, too bad. Okay, we'll just keep the design for some other clients. I've done so many mosques that I think I should do a book. It should be my next book, I think. All right.
Inshallah, thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we have next question from Mira Amin. Hi, I'm Amira. For building that area in the same climate zone as Malaysia, which lying north of the equator, how some building which Sir introduced can be so much glass, and is it the only way to reduce the sun ray penetrate to the building that have much glass is by having shading devices such as tree. It is recommended for building in Malaysia to have more glass? Question.
Okay, good question. We have been taught to do building on the east-west axis, to face north, to not have any openings on the west side because the harsh sunlight. Okay, but if you realize that you get wet sunlight only after what, 4 o'clock? It's late afternoon sun. So if you have solid wall on the west, you lose the opportunity of having view and openings from the morning from 8 to 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. So that's a waste of opportunity. So for instance, the house that I built, my house, the front wall is facing west. If I were to put a solid wall there, that wall might be the part that is actually retaining heat and releasing at night, so it becomes a radiator. So I put glass opening, hoping that I would get airflow, but I must make sure that I have a device that shade the late afternoon sun. So that's why I have that large louvers on the west side. And after 6:30, you get this opportunity to watch sunset, which you won't get if you keep your west wall closed up all the times. So things have to be tackled in accordance to the situation. Yes, you can have glass, but you need to be wary of the heat and hot air that you are allowing to come into the place. So all my large openings have large louvers. Okay.
Actually, apa ni, Razin, kita ada banyak question ni. I got 2 screen, satu Google Map and the other one is YouTube. Okay, I'll go dulu yang apa ni, Google Map. Right, Assalamualaikum, Razin. As mentioned, green is luxury. How much is green percentage can be suggested to maximize the comfortable level?
If you can have 50% green, why not?
Yeah, right. Thank you.
The more you have, the better it will be. But greens that I put in my design is done after I consider the function. If you need some open space because you need to use it for additional praying area or makan area or public space, then you need to do it responsibly so that you provide the space for function and not just for shading or just for appearance of landscape.
Okay, from YouTube punya ni, right, Haris Najmi, if we can apply open space, how to conquer the climate issue? Any solution? I mean, you ada cakap tapi mungkin dia nak stresskan the point tu lah.
Architecture is about providing shelter from the elements. Kan, sebelum ada architecture is nature. Kita duduk dalam gua sebab takut ribut, takut hujan, takut sejuk luar, takut binatang buas dan sebagainya. So the moment you open up, there's no more shelter. So tu saya cakap, you want to have an open design, it has to be done carefully. You cannot run away from the basic, from the fundamental requirement that is to provide a shelter. But a shelter need not be a bomb shelter. A shelter can still be nice and be pleasant, or you can still provide these feel-good spaces in a shelter. So it's on you to decide what is good for you in that open space.
Okay. I open for UiTM. Only Aiman. If you have your team ada question. Nampak banyak ni. Tak apa, kita spell out je.
I think there's a lot of question, but I think mostly I can summarize most of the question. Like, one is that when you talk about tropical regionalism, does it help in terms of maintenance, the use of, for example, the bricks, bare concrete? Does it help in terms of having a sustainable building, or having less maintenance building, and so forth?
Yes, Dr. Aiman. I've had discussions many times as well. When they say there's so much opening, even birds can come into the house. When there's trees right next to building, you have to cut or to prune the trees every now and then. But that's what life is all about. You buy your plates, it gets broken sometimes and you have to replace it. Or you wear nice clothes, you buy this Prada or whatever designer clothes that you have, you get curry spill on your clothes, you still have to clean it. Sometimes you can't clean the stain, you have to replace with new dress, new shirt. Okay, sustainable is about doing what is acceptable to you, what is bearable. If you think you can't bear the action of having to maintain the house, don't do it. It's not suitable for you. I have houses where a client decided to tile the entire lawn that is the size of 5,000 square feet, tiled, because they don't want to cut the grass. I argued like crazy with them, but they say, no, I'm not coming here, I'm not staying there, so I don't want to cut the grass, I don't want to pay anyone to cut the grass. Tile it. So we've done that. But why do you pay lots of money to be at the golf course? Can you imagine the golf course is all just sand and cement? You won't be going there, right? You go there because of the greeneries, the trees, the lawn, the field that you have, the water body that you see. And they pay a lot of money to maintain that golf course. So if that is your objective, you must learn to accept that you have to maintain it. Okay? Well, there are materials that may age gracefully. Like you said, if you don't want to paint the building, just leave it bare concrete. And you've got creepers, you've got climbers growing on the surface. So yeah, that could be a good thing. It's rustic, it's brutal, even so for the brick. So, but you still have to maintain. There still have to be some control. We have gardeners coming to our place every month, once a month, to prune the trees and collect fallen branches or whatsoever. So maintenance is a must.
Okay, Assalamualaikum, Haji Razin.
Yeah.
Following to that question, I think there is something that you might want to share with your house in terms of keeping those unwanted guests away with all this opening? Well, how do you deal with it? You have fans in your house. I don't think you ever mentioned it in during session.
Okay, I'll be frank with you. We got monkeys
Yes.
as visitors. We have squirrels. We have lots of birds because we have lots of trees. Butterflies, snakes, and mosquitoes. They are common. Okay. For mosquitoes, mosquitoes come out just before and after Maghrib. So it's like between 6:30 to 7, 8 o'clock. So we closed up all the openings. We stay inside. Sometimes we spray red sac, mosquito spray, or we burn ubat nyamuk. Even outside, we burn the mosquito coil. Okay, for snakes, it's very rare. We just had one, but small one, which died at the sliding door. I was opening the sliding door, and then suddenly the door is stuck, and I realized I just squashed a snake that is about 1 meter long. Some other clients, like the Bantara or Lord Fatunan, they put apa tu belerang, sulfur around their landscaping area. And then we have our gardeners to do fogging every month. That's the thing that I talk about. I know that I will be living in this condition, so I prepare actions on combating them or living together with this. But after a while, we get used to the mosquito bites. They only bite visitors, new visitors.
What about primates, monkeys?
Monkeys, we were scared. We called perhilitan. Perhilitan kata tangkap sendiri. The monkeys swam in our pool. Macam model, keluar dengan... but only for a short time, only for 2 or 3 days. After that, they are gone. I mean, some say you use fireworks, you use mercon. Some say you paint one of them so that they won't come again. But that's too inhumane. So they just disappear like that. But if you talk about sustainability, it has to be the thing that's wrong is with us, human, because we are actually taking their space away. So that's probably another topic on sustainability.
This question from this on site here, UiTM. Well, Assalamualaikum, ya Razin. I like the idea of where the wall disappear, the glass wall, the limitless view, and the sliding doors. All these material help to connect us with the outside and greenery. But how do you ensure the security of the building, especially in private residence, without applying any window or grills?
Okay, this open design may not be suitable for everyone. The reason why we could do open design in the earlier houses because it was placed inside a gated and guarded community. So there are armed guards. They check your car every time you come in the area. You know, you have to leave your IC or your license. So it's well protected. Okay. For my house, I don't have grills, but I have motion sensor. I have motion detection. The alarm would be on if somebody moves close to the house. We also have CCTV. We use technology to combat the issue. And the glass I use are tempered glass. It's not difficult. It's not easy to break. You have to do it real hard, which will trigger the motion sensor. So, of course, we make sure every night before we sleep, we close up all the doors and windows. We make sure it is locked. So far, the house, 12 years, there was no break-in. There was break-in at the office, which is next door, because I left my laptop on the table. because they could see from outside. That gives them the courage to actually come in and steal my laptop. So for houses, really, it's quite safe. So depending on the area, I would try to use other ways to combat security. One area we were very scared after the office will break in. We put guards at night from 7 o'clock to 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. the next day. So we feel better. I mean, but we only had that for a few months. After that, we feel safe. Okay.
Another 50 minutes kot, until 11:30. So on the counterpart then from UiTM, do you have any question? I mean, you guys lagi? Aiman?
I don't think we have any other questions.
Okay, on the side here, dia lebih kurang macam ni lah. For affordable housing bertingkat, which is 10-story high ataupun 80 unit punya arrangement, how obviously issue regionalism ni, they want to apply, the student want to apply, and how, in your opinion, the idea of tropical can be incorporated into the design? Affordable housing, we are talking about economic of the building and the rest of the things.
First and foremost, this tropical approach is not a trend, it's not a fashion. It is a responsible thing to do. What I've stressed in my earlier slides is about being truthful to time and place. You can't be doing Miami style, fully air-conditioned glass box in this hot, humid area, especially for the affordable houses. Okay, tropical design is not only for the rich. No, it is for everyone that lives in this area. If everyone is doing tropical approach, then we have a more sustainable development. So there's a lot of ways that you can do. First and foremost, large openings or maximum opening. Sometimes it's not really maximizing the opening. Sometimes making sure that it's cross ventilation. When you open window on one side, you make sure there's another opening on the other side, so that you get that negative positive pressure and air will flow. If it's only open on one side, you don't get that cross ventilation. Number one. And then courtyards and airwells. It doesn't mean that it's only suitable for low-rise building. You can even do it for high-rise buildings. Okay, so it has to be done. Find ways to do it. Bring in lights, filtered lights, bring in air, uninterrupted airflow, and hopefully you could survive without using the air conditioning unit at night. Yeah, but that is tough because, like I said, our level of comfort is different now. We are more demanding. In fact, the aircon that we put on in our cars are much cooler than those in cold countries. I have an Italian in my car say, "Hey, can you push up the aircon? It's too cold in here." Because we set at 20 or at 18, they only set at 24. So that's the thing with us. We are using so much aircon now that we forget that being outside is also comfortable if the condition is tackled rightfully.
Okay, thank you. All right. Just another question. Okay, for the construction view, the question adalah lebih kurang macam ni lah. In construction, especially on high-rise building ataupun apartment guna IBS, for example, what is your view apabila kita guna IBS compared to traditional? Then obviously traditional is easy for us to use, to apply the green tropical whatever. Tapi bila IBS is quite rigid. So what's your view about the ability to use IBS in tropical ataupun try to imply the green punya strategy in the design?
Okay. First of all, IBS is industrialized building system. IBS is a method, a construction method. It shouldn't limit your creativity as designers. In fact, IBS should follow us. A brick is IBS, because otherwise we have to have earth, rank earth. That will take so much time to be erected. But now, if you want bigger points, want to score better points for IBS, you use bigger bricks. Maybe instead of 4 inches by 10 inches, it becomes 2 feet by 3 feet. When it comes bigger, it becomes panels. That's also IBS. So you should be able to have that flexibility in IBS. Doesn't mean that IBS will restrict you. In fact, IBS is much better because it reduces the need for workers. It reduces the need for providing accommodation for the workers on site. Kalau biasa kita ada 200 orang hingga 500 orang for construction site for normal construction method, once you use IBS, it may drop to just half or a fraction of the number of workers. So it is a very responsible thing to do. In fact, everyone in city area should go for IBS. Even our CIDB building, only 3 stories, we use IBS because we want CIDB to walk the talk. They are promoting IBS for everyone. They should do one for themselves as well. So IBS is the way forward. Right?
Right, thank you. Okay, I think saya dah cuma dah summary dah. I think the question dah jawab most of the question. The rest ada lagi ke on the UiTM ni UiTM kita?
Boleh saya tambah ni? I just got a new one. Hold on. What is this? Okay, about he's asking about the bamboo house. Can bamboo house be commercialized in Malaysia? And because he thought that it is more green and it is more related to nature, similar to all the example houses in Bali, in Indonesia, because they use a lot of these bamboos. What's your comment on that?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I'm not an expert in bamboo, but from what I've read, bamboo is the more sustainable material to look at because it doesn't take 30 years like normal timber. It doesn't produce greenhouse gases like when you melt steel or when you produce cement. So in terms of sustainability, yeah, you grow the material. Within 3-4 years, you can use it as material for the building. I've had thesis students who propose bamboo for even high-rise building now. So it is not impossible. I think research should be done to encourage the use of such material. Yes, it is possible. Thank you. Is it possible for me to answer the question offline?
Yes, carry on.
No, even after the talk, when I have some free time, I just reopen the.
Yeah. Perhaps yes, through the YouTube punya channel kan. InsyaAllah, okay. Alright, ada ni question lagi ke? Yang ni ada lagi ke question? Okay, I think rasanya kita dah summarize all the topic in this question. So kita rasa kita boleh sampai the end of our session lah sekarang ni ya. Right, ada ni yang counterpart UiTM ada lagi ke? Rasanya okay ke? Team UiTM ada question? Cik Lee, Man, Faizul, ada lagi ke?
Yeah, thank you.
Alright. Okay, kalau tak ada apa-apa, I think saya basically based on this presentation, we hope that throughout this presentation daripada awal sampai akhir ni, especially on you tunjuk example how you formulate the idea from, how you incorporate the idea of green in tropical into the design, cara you modulkan dia whatsoever. I hope this kind of things yang budak can learn from the practice actually-nya. Jadi the rest juga apa benda-benda macam contoh daripada idea, how you start whatsoever, it should be incorporated as part of the idea. Cuma the last question yang mungkin I nak post adalah, ada satu question budak tanya, if they were to work with you, what sort of competency levels that you required from them, especially from part 1 student and or part 2 student?
That's a good one. Kami memang we interview our interns sebelum dia masuk lah. Normally we do the basic interview first. We must make sure that they are independent, because there's no public transport to my office area. Independent meaning they have driving license, they have motorcycle license, and probably better if they have their own vehicle. Itu satu lah. So kalau tak ada driving license tu minta maaf, kita tak boleh ambil lah. Okay, that's on basic requirement. Yang kedua, I look at the level of confidence. Design, being creative is something that you can learn. We don't penalize students because their work is not at par with what we do or whatsoever, because being an intern or working here to satisfy the university requirement for master is actually a place, an opportunity to learn. So saya tengok tahap kesungguhan, saya tengok tahap cermat dia, spelling dia tak banyak salah. You know, when you write, kadang-kadang your language pun berterabur, so that means alamak, you're not putting a good impression of yourself.
Yes.
A good effort. So you know about first impression. Saya banyak kali cakap pada student, nama dia first impression. So you tak ada second chance nak bagi first impression. So maknanya when you submit your work or your application sekali tu, itulah dia peluang yang you ada. Because lepas ni dah jadi second interview or whatever, dah ramai orang dah masuk. Yes, we get a lot of application. Kebanyakannya we filter from the online for email interview. Kita juga cari somebody yang for internship ya, somebody yang pakar dalam sesuatu lah. Kalau dia pakai sketches, maka that could be an added advantage to the firm, so we can have freehand sketches for our presentation. Kalau dia pakai SketchUp, pakai Lumion, pakai Revit, so at least on that period tu, when we give assignment, dia boleh gunakan kepakaran. Kadang-kadang ada yang tak ada kepakaran, dia jadi lambat. Bila lambat, kita tak paksa, dan kita terpaksa bagi pada orang lain lah. So in the end, kita khawatir dia hanya buat photostat and tolong beli goreng pisang petang-petang. So in order to be here, we hope you can contribute to our firm. I mean, contribute tak semestinya buat design. In fact, design is a group thing. We always have design review. Every Sunday we'll sit down and review the work that we are supposed to produce, daripada toilet sampailah ke parking structure dan sebagainya. So baiknya kalau dia pun sama boleh contribute. Tapi kalau dia tak confident, then dia jadi senyap je. So dia tak ada cakap apa-apa. We like people who can contribute. Tak semestinya buat design. For instance, the former intern that we have is from UiTM, Seri Iskandar, Rashida. Dia tolong buat buku Blurring Boundaries tu. Daripada page design, selection of photograph, sampailah redrawing the floor plans. I mean, project dah ada, daripada construction drawing, kena translate jadi simplified visuals for the book. It's a lot of work. It took us like, I don't know, 3-4 months just to prepare the visuals. Tapi dia kena ada dedication lah. Maknanya kena buat sampai siap, tak kira masa. Malam pun saya contact dia, ni dah siap belum, ni dah siap belum. Things like that. So, in other words, there's no shortcuts. Memang dengan mana-mana firm lah, not just with me. Dengan mana-mana firm pun memang kena kerja kuat. Attitude tu is number one. Kita hendakkan orang yang ada attitude yang positif. Thank you.
Thank you for the advice. I hope that all the students pick up the points,
Hmm.
and you should prepare yourself with all the competency levels that yang Razin dah spell out, and cuba try the best. Okay, try to offer. Right. Okay, I guess we dah reach near to the 11:30. To conclude, I think saya on behalf of Department of Architecture, I believe on the on Aiman side, which is on the UTM side, mengucapkan jutaan terima kasih. I think for
Terima
your
kasih.
time, for the preparation of the these slides and your thoughts, your idea, and I hope that this will be inspirasi kepada all the students, and also is a kind of shifting their paradigm, how they see things, how they perceive the way they will design in future. Especially for UiTM in Perak, our niche adalah tropical architecture, tropical regionalism architecture. I hope with this we will give a very good a good basis for the student to understand. Right. Thank you very much indeed
Thank
for
you.
your time and everything.
Thank
Okay
you,
guys,
Anwar.
thank you very much. Saya pada masa sama saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada Aini Syafiqah, UiTM Perak, which is help me to prepare this session. Thank you very much indeed for Aini, and also thank you Muaz yang practical dengan saya actually, yang buat kerja ni and so forth. Thank you for that. Okay, thank you very much guys. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.